of women who need to be really careful of the homosexuals are the women in their late 30s. This is out of tune. Sorry, not going to. And if you have not watched this show, congratulations. I'm happy for you. You don't have to watch Love is Blind to get the point I'm going to make in this video. So I've talked before about, in several videos about Steven. He's just a little homosexual. And how women in their mid to late 30s, or even 35 to 42. Watch out. These men, you have a target on your back for the hobos. Today I want to talk about Katie, because I promised y'all I would, and cool girl Katie. Where do I start? I really liked her. I don't dislike her. I don't know these people. I don't care, by the way. None of us know them. But I use Love is Blind as teachable moments. Because I think all of us have been her at one point. All of us have been a bunch of people on the show. I liked Katie until this scene. I was like, yeah, Katie, you're good for you. And then she did this. So let's rewind a little bit. If you want some insight into how some of the people, the cast, describe themselves, Netflix's website it's very, very telling. Oh, he has done the rotisserie chicken. He's on his back now, y'all. Anyway, so Katie, 36. I think that's the same age as Monica. The reason why I talk about this, I've talked about this before, is 36. Turning 36 is a nightmare. It's a nightmare. God, that my most insecure years in my life, despite how pretty good I was doing, was 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. I loved myself again. But those years suck. Even if you don't want children, even if you don't want marriage. God! So if they were hard for me, I don't know what they're like for Katie and Monica, but I imagine that and all the pressure of being that age, not married, and not a mother, if those are the things you want, oh man, I just keep that in mind when you judge them. Because if you have not gone through the 35 to 42 period yet, you don't even know how much your brain is going to be like, you're a loser. You're a loser. What's wrong with you? All the time. It's exhausting. Even if you don't want those things, you don't want kids, it's still like, what's wrong with you? Why don't you want kids? Are you sure? Are you sure? Maybe you should date a literal hobo to make sure, like I did. Voice is always like, there's something wrong with you. There's something wrong with you. And it keeps you up at night. It's this weird thing that happens that even though I get more confident with age, though the voice during that period of time is so loud. I'm here to tell you it actually dies down. Once I hit 40, I was like, I love my life. You know what? Because I made a lot of changes that I needed to make. But just know this demon voice, the patriarchy voice, it's like having a literal villain in your brain all the time. So let's look at what Katie says. It sounds like Katie has this guy in her brain. Usually this is the podcast bro, but the podcast bro and patriarchy brain monster in your brain are pretty similar. They say the same crap. Same time. Wall, dry up, wall. Katie worries. This is the first sentence of her self-description. Katie worries that some may hold preconceived notions about why she's 35 and single. I mean, I guess she wrote this before she turned 36. Like, that's what she's leading out of the gate with. Shame about being single at 35. People assume that I'm crazy, but I'm actually the opposite, she says. I'm way too cool. Oh, God, here comes a cool girl. This cool girl is her, but like in sports clothes or a raft guy like I was. Cool girl, pick me, same thing. They just, wear different clothes or whatever, but same thing. Same thing. And we are all on the pick me cool girl spectrum because you have to be on some level to survive patriarchy. I'm way too cool. That's your problem. And let everybody get away with everything. That's your problem. The former college lacrosse player, I mean, this woman seems like a badass, right? says she wasted too much time with the wrong one because you're being too cool. And again, when you hit the 35 or 36, that deprivation mindset, what's wrong with me? I better hurry up. I can't be 40 and not be married. I can't be 40 and not have kids. I can't. It doesn't shut up. She has a history of chasing emotionally unavailable men and trying to turn them into ideal partners. That's exactly what she did. I'm getting ahead of myself. We're going to go into, like, she's still doing this. Why? I thought you broke up with him, but then you seem to want to leave that door open for this loser. Working in the world of sports hasn't helped either. As she says, some believe she comes off as cold, emasculated. You know, I hate that word emasculate. Somebody said that word in my comments yesterday about Hannah. She emasculate. You cannot emasculate a man who is comfortable in his masculinity. How are you emasculating a man? By treating him like a child, because that's what he's acting like. If you're doing this because he won't boil water after promising salmon, pasta, and all kinds of stuff, you're not emasculating him. You're talking to, like, oh God. The amount of women that hate Hannah, I'm gonna do it. Like, I love Hannah more every day. Every day. That girl is more mature than I am, I think. God, I wish I could have held men accountable the way Hannah does. She's mean. Passive violence. Nick is all about passive violence, and she's mean for reacting to. I'm going to show you the interview. Anyway, this is about Katie. Katie. Cold or emasculating? Though nothing could be further from the truth. I'm a big love bug. I'm a feminine love bug. I will love you all over and let you walk all over me. I want an alpha man. She wants this guy. Someone to say, that's my girl. I pick her. Who wrote this? Like, this is a nightmare. Description, self-description. I've never had anybody choose me. I'm so glad I read this because it explains why she did that ridiculous, oh my God, you are so amazing, Nick, at the bar. The thing is, I don't even think this is true. I think she's been picked by other men. She's gorgeous. My guess is that the men who picked her were terrible and cheated, or terrible and just didn't really want her, didn't appreciate her. And, if she's anything like me, and has that, I had so much codependency and I had so much stuff to deal with that any man that, like, actually liked me, I was like, whatever. Like, I definitely had, like, really kind men choose me. But I wasn't interested because they're boring. In addition to the fact there are so few men that are worth dating, I don't want to just be like, oh, you're just choosing the wrong man. I'm just saying that I had a history of chasing unavailable men who made me feel like I was at home with an unavailable father who didn't pick me ever. He would rather watch football and drink and, have an affair than hang out with me, right? So, of course, I felt comfortable around men who didn't want me. Just like it felt familiar. I could just make this one guy like me. And then guys who did really like me, I'm like, what's wrong with you? Don't you realize how messed up I am? And on top of that, as someone who worked in the outdoor industry as a raft guide, a ski instructor, climbing, like backpacking, 23-day backpacking, like, wilderness person. Do you know how many men were so intimidated by me? It's really hard to attract a man who's not super weak, I was like, I don't want to be tougher than all the men I date. And I was. The first thing most men said were like, wow, you're so cool. Those men never wanted to date me. So not only is it very hard when you are, like in this position, kind of about in men's world, you hang with the boys. Men are so intimidated by women tougher than them, except for the men. We want to tear you down. I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think we're going to have a rise in the hobosexual menace because Bourbon Bougie did great videos on the NEET, not employed, educated, or in training or something, whatever, I forget what it stands for. But that men are like making less and less money, and women are just going to school more, we're thriving more, and like there's going to be more of us who are successful, confident, have built a life for ourselves, and then these helpless little boys who don't want to do anything, want to live literally with their mommy and can't even take care of their cat, can't even feed their cat, like Nick, if you don't know what I'm talking about. And then, latch on to like a very successful woman who's going to be his mommy and also his mommy he can fork, which is so insane, honestly. And so you either have men too intimidated by you because they're insecure and they're like, oh, or you have parasites, hobosexuals who prey on women like us. So, I'm telling you, like, I did not ever want children. I have never wanted children. I did not have a biological clock being like, find somebody. Never. I never had that. Like so many women who really want to be mothers, I didn't have all that. And this age range drove me insane. Are you sure, Melanie? Are you sure? No, I don't. But you should find someone anyway. Like, it's crazy. I just wanted to be a golden girl. And the devil voice was always saying, baby, 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 loser, 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 loser. What's wrong with you? So, oh God. I'm embarrassed for her that this is how she described herself, because she works for like the Ravens and is beautiful and confident and all these stuff, but this is the weakness. I can't tell you how many amazing women I know who we secretly have thought like this. We may not say it out loud on Netflix, but it's still there. No one's chosen me. What's wrong with me? I know I'm a tough girl, but I just want to be loved. But thank God I never said, I'm looking for an alpha, because I definitely didn't want that. And if Katie does meet the love of her life in the pods in 3 weeks, which is insane, I really don't think that this whole experiment is just so stupid and sets women up to be love bombed and abused. She'll shout it from the rooftops again and again, as her worst habit is being repetitive. I tell the same story over and over. Okay, whatever. Your worst habit is being repetitive to, in terms of being attracted to dudes like this. By the way, Nick, who just loves to talk about football. After building a stable real estate career and investing in his own happiness, what is bringing you happiness? What are you investing in? Because you don't know what a 401k is. You don't understand stocks. You don't even know how to pay your own car insurance. Or I think your mom is paying your phone bill still. You don't feed yourself. You can't boil water. Not even cook. Can't boil water. Like, I guess you can't go camping either. Where's this investment going? What are you buying? You don't even invest in your little basement. Your pool table. You don't even invest in having fun in that. Like, what are you doing with all this money you're making while you pay like no bills? But he set his eye on the new goal. I'm the perfect version of myself right now. Wow, did we learn that's not true? And all this stuff is like, Hannah turned him from a boy to a man, but he's a boy man, but he doesn't really want to be a man. He wants to be a boy. God, if this is the perfect version of him, why does he have Hannah and Katie fighting over him? And he wants the perfect wife. Now, I already did a video on Hannah just being like, I feel like he would want someone who a perfect person who it looks perfect and wears makeup to bed. She even said that in a whole, section in a video about like, they all called it. He's a smooth talker. He's full of crap. He even admits he's never been in love. He's clearly never been in a relationship. He just knows how to smooth talk women into hooking up with him. But like all of them talk so much crap about this man. So why Katie was like, I think you're just like a great soul and you deserve happiness. Katie. But you know what? Men like this, the little hobosexuals, they want an ambitious and confident woman. Of course they do. They don't really want they want a confident woman with daddy issues. A confident woman with unhealed trauma. A confident woman, but is too indoctrinated in patriarchy to realize that, like, confident in every way except in herself and her ability to not center men. I don't want someone who's gonna latch onto me and ride my wave into my mom's basement. Like, bro, you could, like, what wave? What wave? Like, latch on. Like, the words even, latch on. Somebody who doesn't even pay his own bills would talk about how he doesn't. This is why I'm saying every time men say this is what they are. Cecilia Regina talks about this a lot. Me, all my mutuals, we talk about this a lot. Every time they're like, I don't want this kind of woman. I don't want a gold digger. They're the gold digger. I don't want someone to latch on to me. They're the latcher honors. I mean, latch. I mean, actually, it's the perfect word because he's just a little baby who's just like, sorry, that's disgusting. That's what it is. He's just a little, He's like, these two are together in one and bleh. I'm sorry, I'm very hyper today. I'm too much. Rams would never like me, I guess. Too much. I'm too much. I want someone who's going to provide value to my life. And I want to do the same. No, you don't. This sounds like 50-50. What do you bring to the table? I want someone who's going to provide. Oh, I thought men are the providers. No. Men are the providers of trauma, unpaid labor, stress, autoimmune diseases, but nothing else most of the time unless they're really working on themselves. And they are protectors of their egos and other men. That's it. Yet all these women are fighting over this man. And you know what's even worse? This man has like, probably by now, the last I checked, he had like 95,000 followers on Instagram. Who do you think those followers are? Men? Do you think men are following this man? Because if you go to his page, it's all these women being like, Hannah was so mean. Hannah's a bully. Hannah's a villain. Hannah's abusive. I'm not going to say that's reactive abuse. I don't even like that term. But when a man promises a bunch of stuff, gaslights you, does all this stuff, and then literally isn't the person he sold you on at all. The only thing she lied about was her looks a little bit. She has a right to be pissed and annoyed. And also, of course, they cut out all the time she was nice. That in one of her interviews, she was like, yeah, when you see me being mean to him, it's because I've already tried to be nice 20 times. Any woman who is married to a king baby knows exactly what that's like. And just like Marissa, Hannah was so fun in the pod, so bubbly, so full of positive energy. And the wrong man, the lazy man who will not do anything, who doesn't want to protect you from STIs and pregnancy because he just wants his pleasure. The wrong man will literally turn you into the most stressed out, worst version of yourself. If you're not glowing up in a relationship, he is slowly killing you. You won't realize until 10, 20 years later, you have all these autoimmune diseases and you're like, why? It's because you have so much anger and stress from one man. But he's just a fun guy. You know, Hannah was just too hard on him. What is this woman doing with this dude? He's not even hot. If you're going to be a mother to a man, at least be really hot. Now, I'm going to go into the interview later because I think actually Hannah and Katie are still friends. And Hannah has also said that I was like, when she called her best friend, I was like, what? Best friend ever? Whatever. I mean, first of all, I think she was drunk when she was saying that. But second of all, like, these people are all in this crazy experiment. And if I used to work in the film industry, I've never been in this situation, but like, they are isolated from everyone in their life while they're in the pods and in Cabo and all that stuff. They have no one but each other. So the closeness that that's why all these women are always like so close after the show, because no one understands what they went through but each other. So I know that she even makes fun of herself for calling Katie her best friend, but they actually apparently are still friends. But these three, Marissa and Hannah and Katie, were very, very close. So when she sees Katie at this, was this a Halloween party? I don't know what. They're all dressed up in the stuff. They are just so happy to see each other. Honestly, one of the things I love about this show is that the female friendships that come out of it. One of the things I hate about this show, other than Brett and, oh God, what was his name? The friendships of Brett, what was Brett's best friend? Most of the friendships that come out of the show with men are disappointing because these men are supporting men who are terrible. But that's like pretty close to life. Very realistic. I love the friendships that come from the women out of this show. So, this was the first time Hannah saw Katie, I believe, since coming back from Cabo. And all the women look so beautiful this night. So immediately Hannah's like, do you want to make Nick? And I understand this has got to be a big deal if you like had a connection with someone, you never seen them before, that you want to meet them or whatever. She even talked about how she was curious to see what Leo looked like. But she also, like, didn't really care that much because she was invested in her potential marriage. So Katie is just a little too excited to be seeing Nick. Like, Katie, you need to calm down a little bit. Just reminding, though, the first 3 days we had each other as our number one. Yeah. Hannah knows that too. So they're all talking about his looks, and she's like, he's better looking in person. What? Are we looking at the same man? Like, how? You all thought he was so hot, and then this is what you got. How? What do you mean better looking? Who have you been dating? Anyway, apparently I think Katie said something to Hannah like 3 different times talking about how hot Nick is, which is, first of all, A, inappropriate, and B, like, do you have beer goggles on? What? Look at Hannah. No, it's totally cool. Trying to play it off like this doesn't bother her when it clearly does. As it should. And I think it bothers the other women too. Like, by the way, she did not deserve, none of them deserve what these men did to them. And Tim seems so mean. God! Anyway, I don't know if I have it in me to do videos on all of the men and what they did. But if I have time, let me know if you want to hear that one. But look at Marissa. She's like, I mean, I feel like that sounds bad, but it's just, I just said it, so. Your boyfriend's really hot. We used to date. He was my number one. But Hannah's like, Now, a good friend would read this. Like, a good friend would be like, read the room. What are you doing? And what's also funny is, like, why are all these women going after this man when this? I've already done a whole video on this man being shamelessly bad in bed. Several of them. So anyway, apparently, I don't know if she's exaggerating, but apparently this conversation went on for like 45 minutes. I don't know. That sounds like a lot longer than what we saw, but we also know they edit things. But my guess isn't that this party wasn't like 8 hours long. My guess is it was, 3 or 4 hours maybe of filming. So a 45-minute conversation with your fiance, I would be pissed by that. And, Monica and all the rest of the girls are like kind of keeping an eye on this, but like, let's see what happens. Katie looks like she's lighting up though. And Hannah's like, are you really my friend, Katie? She's definitely not your best friend. Those women who grilled Nick, your best friends, like long term, those women, those are the kind of friends you want in your life. So she tells Monica, said, Katie, you're supposed to be my friend. You don't say that. So I guess she even said, that's weird that you keep calling him hot. And Monica's like, yep, she said that to me too. Nick's really attractive. So Katie, does it seem like you are repeating a pattern of chasing after men who are unavailable like you claimed in your own self-description? He's not only just not available because he is a little boy. He's a grown man, but he acts like a child to get away with not having to do anything for himself because, it's a labor issue at the heart of a lot of this. But he's not only not emotionally available, not mature enough, he's literally engaged to one of your friends. Katie. Hannah's kind of like, so I think, so Hannah's clearly feeling very insecure right now. Now, maybe that's some of her own insecurity, but what woman would not feel insecure with this man who everyone says was, the flirt of the group, who also did that stupid duck thing where he rode with that woman, the guy who just it's like, yes, women, we can be very insecure, and that can be an us problem. I've told stories about that. In the healthiest of relationships, I can go to 1,000 and be like, oh my God. But in general, men's behavior is oftentimes at the heart of our insecurity because they're flirting and they're being disrespectful. Oh, you just rolled over again. Look at that. So Katie and Nick have this conversation. You were the guy that was smooth and charismatic, like the football player, the athlete, right? That is what I date in the real world. She's like, not to stereotype you, I apologize, because that's like a stereotype. I'm super chill. Tell me whatever you want. Now remember, this is the man that all of them agreed in the pods would be the person, as soon as they got their phones back, would be looking everyone up on Instagram, including her, that probably had nudes in his phone and was literally like just doing all the stuff that an F-boy would do. They all thought he would be this man. She just thought it was really important to come over and build a bear up. Build a hobo up. So she's talking about her whole decision around all this stuff, and they're dating. And no, this is the guy that I would date in the real world. And that is why, I'm 35 and single. Yo, look at him. So bored by this show. Me too. I'm so glad it's ending. So here they have this conversation about how they didn't really care about age. As much as I would love to not care about age, and in general, I have found that a lot of older men are looking for a hospice wife, and they're like really, really, really more conservative. That doesn't mean that younger men are going to be any better, but sometimes they're a little bit more evolved. But she is 36 and he's 28, and he lives at home. A lot of 28-year-olds would not he's like an 18-year-old 28-year-old. And I've met 28-year-olds who are more like 48-year-olds in terms of they know you know what I mean? So age can matter, but with these two, it absolutely matters because he's not 28, he's like 18. No, he's not even 18. I don't know what he is. So they are talking about how they have all these similarities. Yeah, I was really feeling you. Now, if my fiance was hanging out with a girl that was number one pick for 3 days in a row, not me, but her, she was the number one pick for 3 days in a row, and he was her number one pick for 3 days in a row. And I saw this conversation later on and was like, wow, this is definitely flirting. I was really feeling you. What? This conversation is not necessary. Closure is not necessary. You give yourself closure. You don't need closure from them. She did not need to do this. I've done tons of videos of closure being just... It's a myth. You give yourself closure. These people will never give you closure. She did not need to have this conversation at all. And it definitely should not have gone this way. And you're like, you can't help when you're born. I can't help when I was born. What's age really? Maybe we should get together, bro. So you don't care about age? Because, this bitch is on my ass all the time, wanting me to cook and boil water and pay my own bills and talk about hard things like paying bills. So would you date a 20-year-old here now? 28-year-old? And so she's like, no, you have to understand. For the past 15 years, 10 years, whatever, I've dated the same guy. Oh, it's been that long? Damn, girl. Stupid joke. Nick, you're not funny. You're not that funny. She's trying to tell him she has a pattern of dating the same guy, and that guy being him, basically. An F-boy who just doesn't care about her. Can't you date someone else? No, he's not even listening, which was one of her big complaints about him. He's just not listening. He's just making jokes. Oh, but I mean the same type of guy. That was even a funny joke. So then he throws back, well, why can't you just accept that that's your type? Losers like me. Maybe you should accept losers like me, because her and I are gonna probably break up soon because she's getting annoyed with me. Maybe you should accept this is your type. Maybe you haven't, sorry, there's a siren. That's what he's... Just haven't met the right guy yet. Or maybe you did in the pods, but now I'm engaged, this stupid burn. That's a great question. I love that she's talking to this man who's the least mature, the least wise out of the entire cast. And she's letting him give her advice. You are not talking to Yoda. I mean, girl, if that's your type, that's your type. Yeah. Honestly, I was attracted to you from day one. Oh, where'd that come from? I was like, damn, Katie's on my mind. Nick, what are you doing? Now, and Hannah, just like Chelsea, is so insecure, even though these men literally give women a reason to be insecure. Doesn't mean the women aren't insecure, but this is on him. Why would you tell her all this? You know what's actually happening here? I don't know what Katie's motives were. I think her motives were to just, maybe flirt with him and get validation because she said she just wants to be picked, right? I don't know if she actually wanted to be with him, but I can guarantee you what this man's motive is. He is opening the door for them to cheat or get together after him and Hannah break up. There's no, you will not convince me there's no other reason why this conversation did not happen. There's no reason to say this when you're engaged. No, you gave me goosebumps. You gave me goosebumps. In the real world, you see how this people. So Katie is just loving this a little too much, which is why Hannah was nervous. So he gives this long monologue about how amazing she is. She loves it. She's loving it. Loves this moment. Totally inappropriate moment. Doesn't stop him. Loves it. I can literally look into your eyes and tell you're a beautiful soul. You're a beautiful person. Thank you. You're super ambitious. I like women who make money, so I don't have to. You're gonna make someone happy as fork one day. Oh my God, you can honestly make me cry over that. Thank you. Katie, you don't need this. You don't need this. And he's doing this for the wrong reason. He's already checked out your Instagram account and he wants to cheat or dump Hannah for you. No, I mean it. I mean it. I mean it. Right? I'm super important on body language and impressions and, shit like that. Not in the, looking at your IG, because, your IG is beautiful, by the way. In case you didn't know, I've already checked it out. I'm looking at your IG. Just like y'all predicted, I'm looking at your IG because I want to cheat. Y'all, seriously, is he any better than Steven? Wait, you know what I mean? They all knew he'd be going into all of the women on the show's IG accounts to check them out. And that's exactly what he did. And he wants her to know he's been looking at her account. You're engaged. You're engaged. You're dope as fork. Imagine a 36-year-old woman hearing this from this boy man and being like, oh my God. I mean, I get it. I get it. It sounds like I'm judging her. I am judging her because I also have been her. And it is so embarrassing to be so amazing and then want this. Remember, anyone who's new here, I literally dated a hobo. Rode the rails, caught him eating dog food. He bragged about liking dog bones, biscuits. Well, I rode the rails, okay? So I've done worse than this. That's why I'm kind of hard on them. Because this is the same version of that. It's just hobo schedule light. Right? I was feeling you. I'm not gonna lie. Again, he's engaged to be married in a week. But you were the one who dropped me. You still want to drop me? Let's fork. So then she does this speech. And so many pick-me's on Instagram and just on the internet were like, yeah, Katie, we love you. You are so much better than Hannah because Hannah's mean. A man like Nick needs somebody who's, soft and gentle with him. Somebody who's like, oh my God, I'm going to tell you how amazing you are. Pick me. Right? Now, there's nothing I want you to take personal from what I'm about to say. Teacher has a lesson. But when it comes to maturity, I didn't think you were quite there. I thought we got to a good point, and then at the end it was like, my mom's friends, let's older women, and I'm like, dang, he was such a great man until he said that one line, even though everyone knows he's a flirt and all this other stuff, but it was just that one line. He didn't hear a word I said. So you already know this man. You already came to your conclusion. You literally, not only did you dump him, you encouraged Hannah to dump him. That is what is so crazy about this. I'm going to get back to that scene in a minute. She literally was like, you got to do this. You got to break up with him. Whatever. And then she's here doing all this. Being like, no, but you're really a good person. You're really a good person. You gave me goosebumps. And beyond that was the objectifying. That date, you were like, I just know you're sexy. I know you're this, you're that. Look, Hannah's watching all this. Of course, this could just be editing. She could be looking at someone picking their nose for all we know. But I'm sarcastic. I just joke around. It's all jokes. It's never just jokes with men. They're never joking. There's always some truth or something behind a joke. If you said something to me, I'm just like, damn, that sexist. That's because you've never talked to a woman other than wanting to fork her. You've never been in love. You said that yourself. You never seem to have ever really dated anybody, but you've hooked up with women. I don't know where you take them. Surely they don't come back to your mom's basement and are like, yeah, let's get on. I didn't mean it that way. You didn't see a future in me. I love how he's like, I didn't mean it that way. You didn't. That's totally fine. But it just like, no, like, I really like talking to you. Let's keep talking. I just know, I really like talking to you. Present tense. Let's keep doing this in case this work doesn't work out. So she tells him, I think you lead with charm and charisma. Too hard. Let me give you advice on how to trick women better. This is why dating coaches for men, I don't believe in them. This is why, like, you know, like anytime you're gonna, this is why I'm like, do not, when you're gonna break up with a man, go get closure so you can tell him all the things he did wrong. Because most of the time they're not actually gonna learn from that. That if they learn it, they're going to apply that to their future relationship. Great. You just helped him out for free with all whatever trauma or extra labor or heartbreak that he gave to you. But most of the time, especially if they're like narcissistic or just so selfish, they will take whatever lessons you are giving them about how to date and they will use it to trick women. So thank you, Katie. Thanks a lot. You're like telling him how to trick women better because the man doesn't want a real relationship. He wants to get married just so he has like access to bodies and like free labor and someone to pay his bills because his mom probably is going to cut him off at a certain point. But stop giving men advice on how to date better. Stop. Unless you truly believe they are really good men and but you don't even know this dude. You talk to him like for 4 days in the pods and you're like, you're a really good man. Here is a cheat sheet so that women will miss all the red flags. And then she said this. Where are you getting this from, Katie? I think you're just such like a beautiful and deep person. I would challenge you to lead with that. Lead with you being a deep, beautiful person. Who are you talking to? Did you... I remember talking about your family, and they just sounded amazing. Yeah. Did he tell you he lives with them? I'm pretty sure he probably left that part out. And also his dad literally said, Hannah's great. Why did she choose you? When they were alone on their patio. This person filled with values. Values like exploitation of labor from women, entitlement. Like, Katie, what are you talking about? This whole little speech that Katie gave, like, I really liked her. And then I was like, are you high? Why are you doing this? And then I read her description on the Netflix. And I was like, oh, because this is your pattern. You haven't broke that pattern. You are just roboting through your dating life. And I think this person that's filled with a whole lot. People love her because she said all this BS. And they hate Hannah because she actually told this man what he needs to work on. Finances, maturity, reading the room better, being thoughtful, being an adult, cook, learn what stocks are, whatever, even if you don't want to do those. Hannah gave him the roadmap to how to be a good partner and grow the F up. And people hate her. And then Katie swoops in and is like, you have to be high, you have values, you love your family, you have a deep, beautiful soul. And they're like, oh my God, Katie, wow, like, you're so much better than Hannah. Don't be this. Don't be this. Be a Hannah. Hannah was mean sometimes. She knows it. She's owned up to it. All of the interviews, she's like, yeah, I need to work on that. Like, literally the interview, every time I read an interview from her, I'm like, I like this girl even more. She gives me hope. She knows how to have hard conversations. She is aware of the way that men are going to exploit her. And so jumps right into those hard conversations. I love that she role models what women should be doing. And all these women, even people who follow me, which is shocking, are like, she's an abusive bitch. I'm like, wow, okay. Don't be Katie. If you have to pick one, the thing is this is why I love younger women. I learned so much. I learned so much from older women. I learned stuff from women my age, and I learned a lot from younger women. So much from younger women. I have learned so much from younger women because they weren't conditioned under the exact same way that I was. Katie, you're going to learn a lot from your buddy Hannah. Lead with that. You're hot. You're big, dead, cold hot. Like, don't lead with like, I know you're sexy. God, stop telling him how to trick women. He's like, great. Okay. Now at least I know how to trick you, bird. I think now she's playing psychologist. I think this is a defense mechanism. Yeah, sure, okay. But Nick has so many things to deal with. Like this little lecture, this little speech, this little teachable moment. It's not going to change anything. If anything changes this man, is everything that Hannah told him that he has to learn how to do if he wants a decent partner. I just realized I didn't have the microphone on. Sorry for those weird sounds. Which is maybe coming from a place of insecurity. Yeah, duh. So what? Yeah, I mean, that's where your pick-me-ism is coming from too. But I'm here to tell you, you are the whole package. You are everything any woman has ever been looking like. What? This line, I'm like, are we talking about the same? Why are you doing this, Katie? Do you really believe this? Because I kind of feel like you don't, but you just want to be picked because you told us that's all you've ever wanted. You're fantastic. Do not be men's cheerleaders. Even like, oh my God. Men just want cheerleaders and we're just like, yeah, we should just build them up, cheer for them. Oh my God, you're so amazing. He would just change it for you. I just talked to him about it. Stop. They are not our cheerleaders. He should be your number one cheerleader. He should be the one saying all this. But this is not. But all the stuff he's saying, he's not saying to Hannah. He's saying to her. But he has taken this very seriously. This is the most serious I've seen him in the whole show. And then she says this. And I love what? Love what? Are you saying I love you? Do they get the subtitles wrong? And I love and I'm proud of the person you are. Well, I'm glad you're proud of him because even his own dad isn't. And I'm proud of the growth that you've already experienced. This has been like, what, 3 or I don't know how many weeks this is. Forget. No person is going to change from what he was, the perfect version of himself. She seems to think he's the perfect version of himself. But, whatever. But he's grown so much. It's only because of what Hannah's been teaching him. But, because you're in a position where you have a fiance, don't forget. We're having this totally inappropriate conversation, but you have a fiance and she's my best friend. You guys are growing together. You're also growing as a person. In case you don't work out, you're still growing, so you and I could just... That's the most beautiful part about what we were experiencing. I don't know who is saying what at this point. Experiences moving on into whatever's next. I'm happy with where I'm at. Oh, this is him. I've learned to mature and be socially aware. Oh, one of the points on Hannah's list? You haven't changed any of that. The fact you're having this conversation right now, an inappropriate conversation in front of your fiance for 45 minutes, allegedly, you're not socially aware. I'm not aware of the words I say. And I learned a lot to grow as a man and mature. I think the world of you. I tell Hannah all the time, I can't wait to be bro with Nikki D. As a former cool girl, one of the things that was so funny is that I didn't date, really, at all. So I didn't have to deal with all of this, but I loved to be the one girl that could hang with the bros. Thank God I wasn't dating. But I remember every once in a while I'd come across another cool girl who wanted to be the one, because there's only room at the top for one. Only one person gets keys to the boys club tree house. And I remember being like, God, she would rub it in my face if she was best friends with but these men never wanted to date us, right? Oh God, it was just so funny, being, it's almost as much validation being the one cool friend who can hang with the boys and listen to their misogynistic jokes about, the loose women and the deli meat hanging down there and all the things I had to listen to in the van on the way down to the river. But it's a trauma response because I like other new cool girls who can hang with the boys. Pretend like that doesn't bother. And also, when you do say something, as I had said before, I got called a feminist. I hate men. So I was like, oh, okay. The only way I can have friends in this town, because all my coworkers are male, and most of her coworkers probably male, is to be the dude girl, the girl that can hang with the bros and listen to all their misogynistic stuff and be cool with it. This is a very lonely place to be. You don't want to be there. He's like, just invite me to a Ravens game, please. Wink, wink. Let's hang out after the show. Oh, we can do that. Katie. Even your description, I give the wrong guys too many chances. Like that's her tagline. And then she's doing this. I'm going to show you a couple of things that women have been saying to why they like Katie so much. Then come back to what Hannah has said. And then I'm going to wrap it up. This one article is like, fans really appreciate the way she communicated with Nick during that time on Love is Blind. I love the way you give him constructive criticism, but words of affirmation at the same time. I can tell he definitely received you very well. How we communicate can either shut someone down or open them up to continuous growth. So don't be a big old bitch like Hannah and tell him the truth. Instead, just tell him he's like so amazing, and then just tell him that like, lay off objectifying women. As if that's the only thing he needs to work on. Thank you for the way you engage with Nick. Watching you interact with him with a breath of fresh pick-me air. It made me feel like God sent you to remind him of who he is. You will make someone a happy man. God bless. Oh, she's going to make someone a happy man, and she's going to be miserable. Apparently under these comments, someone's like, I want to see you and Nick date. I'm saying, y'all, this is why, like, if you have, I'm not saying you have to love Hannah. I don't know Hannah. She was a little too blunt sometimes. But if you have a, like, anger for Hannah that you can't explain and you just don't like her, I think you may want to question some of your indoctrination and pick-meism. Because Hannah held that man accountable in a way we are not used to seeing in general. And she had conversations we are not used to seeing. And she called him out for things we are not used to seeing. And people are so mad. I don't care about Hannah. I don't know her. She could literally be the worst person ever. But her and Marissa, they both had very hard conversations with those men. Monica did too. All three of them called men out for ridiculous things. Hannah was like the most brutal with it, and that man needed to hear it. In this interview for Vulture, people, you know, they were like, watching the show back that you were, you know, kind of, Mose wants to eat. He's being impatient. Not yet. Okay. You were cruel and demeaning to Nick. Why do you think that you didn't recognize that at the time? I felt like you knew how to adjust your delivery when you're talking to his mom, for example. Oh, what you're not seeing is that I said it 20 times prior to the very nicely, I said. You're seeing me say it the 20th time pretty harshly. And if you have never dated or been married to a man like Nick, you don't get this. It's not that she was like a bitch right out of the gate. Ask any women who are complaining about their husband not doing anything. Some of the men will literally, and some of my mutuals of men who talk about deconstructing patriarchy, they even say themselves, they won't hear it until a woman screams it at them. Because that's their conditioning, especially if they were like used to like coaches and whatever, like, oh, like they're not used to civil conversations. It's like you have to cry or scream before you get their attention. Some of my mutuals talk about this so beautifully. I'll try to remember to tag them. Like one of them's a married couple. Some of the things I never should have said. I should have been a lot kinder, but I was very, very frustrating, and you're seeing that frustrated self. They're like, yeah, but it seems like your family hates you. And she's like, no, they don't. Like, I'm very close with my team. I'm the kind of person who would rather have 4 quarters than 100 pennies. I'm a very loyal family member and friend. Now, again, I don't know Hannah. I don't care. This is what I'm talking about. I personally am the person, I will listen. I mean, I always ask. But all the people who are close to me, they want to know the truth. They want to grow. They want to change. They don't want to repeat the same cycle. So my friend Liz even said, she's like, what I love about you is that when I call and I really am stuck in, I can't figure this problem out. And I know part of it is me, but I don't know what part. I call you and you're not going to say, oh, what an asshole. What a jerk. You're not going to just lay into him and complain about him. You're going to help me see, what am I not seeing here? I will tell her the truth she doesn't want to hear, and she does the exact same thing for me. And those are the kinds of friends that I want close to me. And that sounds like that's what Hannah's all about. Her delivery's not great. Sometimes it's a little blunt, a little harsh. I can be Mitchy. I can be blunt. It's inherently who I am. I've always been like that. I don't know. I know I can be a lot kinder to everybody. I'm the type of friend who you text when you want to know if your outfit really looks good or not. I think it's a good quality sometimes. There's a time and a place to be blunt, and I'm learning to reel it back a little. I mean, honestly, for her age, I can't believe how self-aware she seems to be. And also brave to have conversations with men that most women don't even know they're going to have. And that's why I keep saying, do not think that even the most evolved man, that you date him and you end up in a marriage, that you're never going to have these hard conversations. I am telling you, we are so indoctrinated in this stuff. I find myself doing something. I'm like, why am I doing this? What am I doing? And I grew up with a single mom. I'm not even used to watching a woman do everything for a man. And I catch myself wanting to do things that are not my job, right? And he was indoctrinated too. So we are catching this in real time and being like, wait, no. And he wants to unlearn this as much as I do and is working on it. And we're working on it together. But most of the men that I've met, which is why I've been single most of my life, are not interested in that. Labor on you. Easy life, me. He talks about the maturity thing. In that moment, I thought maturity was being independent and having your together. In the grand scheme of things, is that maturity? Probably not. I brought it up a lot because I felt like he wasn't in the same level as me in adulthood or in relationship. But maturity is more than that. I'm a very emotional person. You saw those emotions come out. And I think maturity can come from your cadence and how you speak to people. Emotionally, maturity is something I lacked for sure. So on interviews, she keeps being like, yeah, it wasn't good. She's also pointing out that the mean Hannah that we saw, the mean bully abuser, already said it nicely 20 times. If your knee-jerk reaction is defend Nick, that is your centering menness. She even says that she was a little dramatic, even in her saying that she turned him from a boy to a man. But I think it's valid because I was teaching him a lot of things most men do. Cooking, cleaning, finances, how to correctly be in a serious relationship. There are so many different aspects of what you need to be a man, at least in my eyes, that I felt I was helping with. Yeah, Hannah, you were helping way more than Katie being like, you're deep and emotional and you just need to lead with not being like, sound super sexist. But you are such a good soul. You're perfect how you are. Because that's his problem. He thinks he's perfect version of himself now. She talks about how her and Marissa and Katie were very, very close in the pod. We were called the trio and we're still very close. To this day, our friendship is still good. That's why the situation was so shocking to me. Best friend in the whole world? Yes. It's a crazy thing to say. And when she said that, I was like, But again, nobody knows what it's like to be in this experience. So they do get very close. But when you're falling in love with someone that fast and you're also finding friendships that fast, she's saying basically you're falling into friendships as fast as you're falling in love. Sorry, I read that wrong. Go back from the experiment. Me and Katie talked on the phone every single day. We text every day. So she knows every single detail about the breakup and our relationship. She's one of my closest friends. I mean, I'm glad you could forgive her for being so pick-me-ish. and like, Katie, I hope Katie has worked on herself some more. We all have to unlearn this stuff, just different degrees of it. When they asked about the advice she gave Nick on things I say are not wrong, I'm just going about it wrong. And Katie went about it in the right way. You have to remember, Katie's 36, I'm 26. There's a 10-year difference there. You can see the emotional maturity she has that I lack. She's saying the same thing I'm saying, but in a lot better way. It's a lesson. Okay, this is probably... I disagree, Hannah. Don't just because Katie's 36 does not mean she did that right. I prefer the Hannah way because my guess is that you actually did have these conversations in a much more mature, softer, kinder way. And what we show on camera, of course, in the editing room is we want the... right? Don't take lessons from Katie, especially a self-admitted person who keeps dating the wrong guy and literally just wants to be picked. She talks about why she made that list. I thought this was a great explanation. My notes app is an insane place to be in my phone. Same here. I think I have like 5,000 notes on my phone, y'all. I write things down all the time. That's a lot more private. It's got a pass. I didn't have my phone or my notes app during the experiment. So what I had a notepad at the hotel room. She writes things down, which as I said in the video the other day. So she's seeing these things happening and I want to write them down so I can remember this is what you need to be doing. Always take notes when you're dating. You don't understand how crucial those would be later. They actually help in marriage because I forget this stuff. And then when we need to have talks about things, I have something to reference. So I'm not like, wait, what was it? Like, look at all this. Read for your. She was like, yeah, I was like, that was rude. He was really blah, blah, blah. They were like, Nick said that, you were projecting your insecurities on him. I think Nick reads the internet, and that's where he got that from. But when you watch it back, there's definitely insecurities. We all have insecurities. Nick recognized that jealousy might be one of mine. And he handled that insecurity so well. Men will always be like, ooh, she's insecure about that. Which is exactly what Ramses did. So just a reminder, Hannah's the one that led the charge when it came to talking about division of household chores. When she opened up the conversation about finances, Nick said they would play it by ear and figure it out. Who would pay later on. Hannah wanted to create a plan. She'd been on her own since 18. Hannah, you really should take notes from Hannah. She had the imperative, the most important conversations you need to be having. She had no fear. She brought those up. If you are not having these conversations about all this stuff, you're doing it wrong. And she also said that she was just frustrated with him because she couldn't believe a 28-year-old didn't know how to do the most basic things like this. Nick told Hannah she's demeaning, and she says, well, we're not equals here. Sorry. God, Nick, he was like, we're not equals. It doesn't feel like you think that way. You think I can't take care of myself for some reason. The fact that I live with my mom and don't even pay my own bills. You think I can't take care of you. I can't take care of anything because you can't boil water. Nick said Hannah was too hard on him. He's always been trying. What did he do? He said he's going to make her dinner, and what did he do? The one chance he could, he asked her 15 questions about how to boil water. How much water? What temperature? Should I do this or that? Where's the pasta? It's not in the refrigerator. You don't keep a box of pasta, dry pasta in the refrigerator. I love that she realized when she was with her friends and she saw them just grilling him and asking him hard questions, and she felt the need to dog on him. She realized this is not someone I want to be married to. If you are not proud to be with your partner, if you are embarrassed by him regularly, if you're trying to cover for him and hide, if you are like, oh my God, if you are like on edge because of what he might say, that's your intuition, baby. That's because you know, and now they are bearing witness to what you see behind closed doors. You don't want anyone to know because you don't want to admit it to yourself. She saw the way her friends were like, what is wrong with this guy? And they didn't like his answer. And she realized, you know what? Like, I'm going to have to probably defend this man forever. And I agree with my friends. I don't want to be married to someone like this. Hannah dodged a bullet. So did Katie. But I hate that Katie was the one who was like, I'm so over. I'm glad I'm over that boy. One of the ones who was very vocal. Hannah, you know what you need to do. Break up with him. I did. I dodged a bullet. You do too. So Katie, I don't know what happened between this moment and that little flapper part, but please, y'all, don't let these podcast bros and pick-me's on the internet convince you that there's something wrong with you if you're still single at 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, or even 50, 55. Is what you can learn from younger women who don't feel as much pressure as you necessarily in that moment. We all have pressure at all moments. But when you see the fertility window closing and the big 40 coming, channel Hannah, not Katie, because these men can smell your desperation, your insecurity, your fear of ending up like what your mom said you would, or all these men. They can feel it. You have a target on your back, and they're going to take all your money and maybe knock you up and give you that baby you always wanted, and then disappear. Please, 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 please be very careful. Women are perfect. I'm not perfect. You're not perfect. Hannah's not perfect. Katie's not perfect. All of us are unlearning stuff. But if you have to look to someone, do not assume just because an older woman is confident and mature and all that stuff, that maybe she gives the best advice on dating men. We are so vulnerable when we go to enough weddings and enough baby showers, and even if we don't want those things, are like, what's wrong with me? Don't let that little, you're going to die alone. There's something wrong with you. Oh. That's patriarchy. Don't believe it. All right, let me know if you heard the comment song. Like, comment, share, all those things. It really helps. And please follow my Patreon, where you see all kinds of cool stuff, including a live with the author of the book Emotional Labor. Et voila! Short comment song, Mo's in a cone edition. Comment song, Mo's. Okay, bye.